As we left off last time, we checked out the portraits for different styles of hair within the Julian style portraits. Here we had the elixir flame with using the curves. Here we use similar curves, brush techniques, and flat color. We were moving from this section, so our checklist would have been nose, mouth, face, neck, sweater. If you had a hat or anything like that, that was going to be there, plus your hair. Now we're going to focus on the hair for this section, and we are going to use the pen tool to start to create something that looks like this. Our first job was to start to create a hair layer that meant that we had this hair outline. And you can see that I've got one here. And what we're going to do was we were going to sandwich the two layers between each other. So we had, you can see I've got 4 layers here just for my hair, and I was sandwiching everything in between here. And what this meant we could do was we can hide our pen strokes and the way that we color our strokes into groups of shade of color within the hair. So if we did have a mistake and the pen tool, you can see here my pen is actually going underneath this top layer, which is the pen, which is the outline of my hair. This pen stroke here, this black pen stroke, is actually covering this highlight here of the hair. It means that we have a much neater look to our hair where the color is starting to change. So let's go and have a go and do this. So we want to make sure that we've got our hair. You can see that when I turn this on and off, I've got my sandwich. So what I want to do now is just go and make a new layer in here, and we call this hair color. And I just want to drag this between the two, and so I know where this is. Inside this, I want to go and get my pen tool, and then I've got my swatches here. And if I go into my transparency of this layer here, you can see that what the outline of it's going to look like. I'm going to turn this down a bit so I can see through it slightly. I'll turn these off so I can see the hair underneath. Make sure I turn that jumper off. That's better. And I want to turn my neck off as well. In fact, while I'm at it, I may as well just turn off everything except for that. So we can see in here where the color is starting to change. So if we look closely at our color, we can see that this here is very much a single shade, and I've got a line here. Now on my work, you can see that I've separated that line because it's deep enough. The color change between the two sides is deep enough that it warrants an actual thick black line. The same with this here that separates from the background of her earrings and where the darker hair is as well. Let's get a pen tool and start drawing this. So I'm not going to worry too much about this because the hat's going to be here. So I can actually go into this and just move it around. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit and start to just draw in this area here. Now you'll notice straight away that my colours on my strokes, my fill on my stroke are completely different, and I'm not going to worry too much about this because I can just simply change it like so. Now that's okay for me. And what I'm going to do now is just use my anchor point tool, and I'm going to move these around so that they are nice and smooth. And I've zoomed in using my Alt and mouse wheel. And what I want to do is just move along. I use my Control and mouse wheel. You can hear it clicking. And then I want to just move that around. And then what I might do is on here, if I use the pen tool again, you can see just on here it starts to add a plus. and it allows me to go back into my pen tool here. If I just hold down, let's hold this down and just bend that around slightly. Right, so there's the first layer of my color, and then what I'm going to do next is start to use my pen tool again. I'm going to start using my pen tool. I'm not going to worry too much about the color. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit here, and I'm going to grab all this down here. I'll move that and edit it. That's what I was talking about when I was talking about moving the sandwich layer on top of these points. So I'm going to be quiet for a moment and I'll speed this up. Okay, now you can start to see how the color is starting to come together. For this bit, I am not too worried about the accuracy here, because what I'm going to use is the anchor point tool to move these onto these separate shades, as you can see here, so that I can make them nice and perfect. Okay, so the last bit was going into my brushes and making sure that they're rounded. Okay, so putting in the division here means that I can separate the two colors and separate the hair and give it depth, as in the other examples. This is up to you now to try and copy this and try and emulate this on your styles. And what you're aiming for is something that is a little bit like this, where the colors are starting to blend using different tones based on your palettes. So you should have your palettes like this, and you're aiming for something from here to here. Right, good luck.